Hi, folks. I'm Lindsay Fine, VP of Sales here at Dyspatch. I'm super excited to be chatting with all of you today. As you may or may not know, we're going to be talking a little bit about the future of Dyspatch. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce my colleagues here with me today. So I'll pass it over to you, Vero.
Hi, everyone. I'm Veronica Best. I'm VP Product at Dyspatch. I've been at Dyspatch for 3.5 years. So I was here from the early days, got to know all our customers who are still with us today. Really excited to chat with you all today, and I'll hand over the mic to Matt.
Thanks, Vero. Hi, everyone. I'm Matthew Harris. I'm the founder and CEO of Dyspatch, being here since the very start, and super excited for what we're announcing today and to tell you all a little bit of what the future is going to entail.
Perfect. So again, why we're sitting down today, and just to kind of go into a couple of highlights, you may have seen last week that we shared some pretty exciting news. We announced that we closed a $6 million funding seed round led by Gradient, Google's AI-focused venture fund. And what does that mean? There's a lot actually behind that. So what we want to do today, and what we want to take this time to do with the team here, is talk about what that's going to look like. What does the funding mean for us? What can you expect to see from us in the future? And all things that are ahead in 2022. So that will bring me to my first question for you, Matt. I personally would love to hear in your words, like, what does this funding mean for Dyspatch and the future of the company?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think to me, funding for a startup company always means growth, and either leading to growth or leading from growth. And for Dyspatch, this round of funding is leading into a huge amount of growth, specifically around our apps in email technology and what we're trying to do there. So what I'm excited about with this funding, what it means for the future of the company, it gives us the opportunity to really invest in this new technology that we've been working with a handful of our customers on, and really making it available to a really wide audience. And that's what's really exciting to me as a technologist, as an entrepreneur, is just seeing a lot of people use my technology in interesting and creative ways, and seeing what they do with it. And that's what, to me, this funding is going to allow us to do with Dyspatch.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons, that I joined, and I just actually hit my 3-month here, is in our discussions in the past, talking about what's possible and what we can do. And it's just amazing to see. So I'm obviously personally excited, but going back a bit, like, where did the original idea for Dyspatch come from? Like, what were the main problems that you were trying to solve?
Yeah, that's going back a ways, but I used to be a software developer, and working with government and enterprise and a lot of different startups on different projects as a contractor. And I kept on running into the same problem of, I actually had to work on email a lot, and I'd have email inside my source code in my Git repositories and whatnot. And I slowly found that that didn't actually make a lot of sense. As a developer, I didn't care about email a whole lot, but the product managers, the marketing people, the sales people, customer success, everyone else who I interface with, they cared a lot about these emails and what they looked like and what content was going in them. And so that was the initial idea for Dyspatch, is like, let's get this email content that's super valuable, that's really relevant to the customer, get it out of the source code of developers and into the hands of the marketers and the product people that really owned and should care about that. That's where Dyspatch originally came from, and that's how we got started, with this idea of like enabling marketers to access email in a way they never had before. And then along the way, some new things happened.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So apps and email. Tell me more about kind of the opportunities with that and where that came from.
Yeah, that's apps and email is our branding on it, but behind the scenes is a technology called AMP for email. And this is actually technology that Google's been working on for a couple of years now. And it's so exciting. But one of the sad things about AMP for email was that it's like so hard to use that very few companies were actually leveraging it. And so when I started looking and digging into this technology, I realized that it actually is available in millions of inboxes. Many people have this technology and they just don't know it. And it's too difficult for most brands to leverage. And so I looked at the capabilities we had on the Dyspatch platform, and I realized, hey, this is a perfect experience for Dyspatch that we can offer to our customers. So that's kind of where it came from. I will a little Silicon Valley story. The whole apps and email branding. Vero can attest, she was there for this. But that branding and that idea came up on like a rooftop patio in Mexico. on like a on a retreat with some of our investors, like very Silicon Valley magic moment.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so kind of shifting gears a little bit. Vero, what about from a product perspective? Like, where do you envision Dispatch and apps and email in a year or even 5 years from now?
I think it's really tempting to look 1 year in the future, but I'm more excited about what's coming in 5 years because I think things are going to change so much in the email landscape. To us, apps and email will reinvent the way that customers interact with brands. And that's going to make email more valuable again. Instead of something that you get in your inbox that feels like spam, it'll be an actionable communication tool. And that means it won't be stale. It'll save you time. So as the recipient of the email, the end customer, you'll actually want to get these emails. A big part of what we do at Dispatch is just simplifying and speeding up the email creation process without having to compromise on quality. And some things that I see changing in the next 5 years include small teams that are stretched pretty thin that don't have time to do big innovative shifts in email. They're going to be able to do a lot more with tools like Dispatch, and Dispatch wants to be at the forefront of that. We want to basically give that time back to developers and marketers who are working on email to focus on other things than just like coding and testing emails, right? But then apps and emails like the logical next step of taking that to its logical conclusion, because it means that teams can innovate, even if emails are not their core competency. So things I'm expecting to see, I think we're going to see a checkout process come to email pretty soon. And then I think productivity features like being able to book an appointment, whether it's for your dentist or even a meeting over email, I think that's going to become completely ubiquitous in the next few years, which I'm really excited about.
Both of those things I can vouch for personally will make my life a lot easier. So yeah, I agree. It's awesome. What about, okay, so just generally from Dispatch, like, can you share any spoilers or new features or integrations that we have coming?
Yeah, wow, there's so much in the pipeline, and I don't want to say too much, but we're doubling down on ready-made email apps, what we're calling apps. So whether it's the calendar booking tool that I mentioned, whether it's going to be something like checkout, you'll see lots of those. And even tools that you use every day that you don't realize could be an email app like Google Sheets, you'll see those coming to Dispatch really soon. Dispatch also works really well with every other tool you're already using. So we like to think of Dispatch as like one more step in your existing marketing stack or your email stack, whatever that looks like. And so that means that you'll see us investing in way more integrations with tools that you already use, like HubSpot and Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and hopefully even translations tools like SmartLink. So those things are all going to come in the really near future, and we're really excited.
That's great. It's really exciting to see what's coming on the product side. What about the platform today? Are there any success stories that you can share with us, Vero?
Oh, absolutely. Our customers have been incredible partners to us since day one, since the early days of Dispatch. And I have a couple highlights I definitely wanted to share. Canva has seen massive growth from experimenting with apps and email, or apps and email and AMP for email specifically. We've been partnered with them for years now, and their vision for making emails more productive for their users is really inspiring. So for example, they implemented a comment reply email, kind of like Google Docs, where you could reply to the comment directly in your email instead of having to open up something you're collaborating on. And a fun anecdote from their team was that they saw so much activity and action from this that they actually had to reevaluate how they measured success on email and KPIs so that they were doing justice and not shortchanging themselves when they were implementing AMP for email versus regular emails that didn't have the ability to reply directly in email. So I think we're going to see more customers making emails like that. And definitely like live parcel tracking updates and the checkout in cart checkout that I mentioned earlier. I think you'll see that in emails as well. Also, I always like to talk about localizations at Dispatch because it's something that we do so well. We have Fortune 50 customers who are using Dispatch to communicate with customers worldwide, hundreds of locales, millions of templates, everything in Dispatch, including the translations. And what we did with Dispatch is that we made your onboarding to the platform kind of foolproof and future-proof so that if you have emails now and you're not localizing, but you might in the future because you might expand globally then, you'll be able to use those emails and just add the localization. So we made that pretty seamless. So as you scale, Dispatch will scale with you, which I love. And then finally, I'm always excited about how Dispatch helps SMBs. And we look at Grover a lot. They're a small, super talented team, and they didn't have to hire a bunch more developers to help with email because they started using Dispatch. And if that's not a success story, like I don't know what is. You can make emails that are amazing and help your customers without having to hire a whole team to make it happen.
That's awesome. Thank you. Well, that about wraps it up. Thank you all for your time today. I'm super excited about what's to come in 2022. Matt, Vero, do you all have any closing remarks?
I'll add that I'm really, really excited about what's coming in the future. And the best thing about Dyspatch is that it makes creativity the only ingredient you really need to have a winning email strategy. So I'm excited to see what new teams do in Dyspatch with apps and email.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm just excited for what's next and continuing to make our platform bigger and better and to launch more apps. So, and just a thank you to all of our customers and the team that are along for the ride. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Perfect.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Lindsay.
all. Okay, bye.
All right.